In a world where love and connection are highly sought after, we often find ourselves meeting different personalities. Some people radiate charm, confidence, and charisma, instantly pulling us into their orbit. Yet, beneath that magnetic allure, there can sometimes be a darker side, particularly when the person you're dealing with is a narcissist. Narcissists are experts at manipulation, playing games to control and exploit those around them. Their sexual behavior is no exception. Understanding the sexual signals from a narcissist can help you protect yourself from emotional entanglement and heartbreak. In this article, we'll dive into 7 key sexual signals that may indicate you're dealing with a narcissist, so you can spot the warning signs early and avoid falling into their toxic web. 1. Intense flattery and idealization. You're the best they've ever had. One of the first clues you might be dealing with a narcissist is how they shower you with compliments and praise, particularly in the bedroom. They will often go out of their way to make you feel like you're the most incredible lover they've ever encountered. This intense idealization may seem flattering at first, but it's part of the narcissist's grand scheme. Their goal is to hook you emotionally, making you feel special, desired, and unique. In reality, narcissists do not feel genuine love or appreciation for their partners. This initial flattery is a form of manipulation to keep you invested in them. Over time, as the relationship progresses, this flattery will be replaced with criticism and devaluation. Why it's dangerous. The narcissist uses these compliments to create a strong emotional attachment. So when they eventually switch to belittling you, you're left feeling confused and eager to regain their approval. What to watch for. Does the praise feel overly exaggerated or like it's designed to make you dependent on their approval? If they go over the top with sexual compliments early on, it could be a sign of future emotional manipulation. 2. Hypersexualization. Moving too fast, too soon. Narcissists often push for sexual intimacy very quickly. They may pressure you to get physical early in the relationship or make sex the central focus of your connection. To the narcissist, sex is not about emotional closeness or mutual pleasure, it's a tool for control and power. They might use sexual energy to manipulate your emotions, making you feel like the intensity of the sexual relationship signifies a deep bond. But in reality, this hypersexualization is a tactic to gain dominance over you. Why it's dangerous. The speed at which they push for physical intimacy is a red flag that they are more interested in controlling the relationship than building a healthy emotional connection. What to watch for. Does it feel like they are using sex to fast-track the relationship? Are they unwilling to slow down, even if you express the need for more time? This rush is not about passion, it's about establishing control. 3. Lack of emotional intimacy. Sex without connection. While a narcissist may be intensely sexual, they often fail to create emotional intimacy in the relationship. You may find that while the physical aspects of the relationship are intense, there's an emotional void. Narcissists are incapable of forming deep, empathetic connections because they are so focused on themselves. In their world, vulnerability is seen as weakness, and they avoid it at all costs. They may seem cold or distant, even after moments that should feel emotionally bonding. They want sex, but they don't want the emotional responsibilities that come with a healthy relationship. Why it's dangerous. You may end up feeling empty and used, confused by how someone can be so sexually close yet emotionally unavailable. What to watch for. Do they avoid talking about their emotions or seem uninterested when you try to share yours? Do they only seem engaged when the conversation is about their desires? This lack of emotional connection is a key signal that you're dealing with a narcissist. 4. Sex as a power play. Using sex to control you. Narcissists often use sex as a way to exert control. They may withhold sex to punish you, or they may use it as a reward to manipulate your behavior. For example, they might withhold physical affection when you do something they dislike or offer it as a way to make amends after an argument. In this power play, sex is not an act of mutual enjoyment, but rather a bargaining chip. They know that you crave affection and will use that craving to get what they want. They may even use sex to hoover you back into the relationship after periods of emotional distance or conflict. Why it's dangerous: when sex becomes a tool for manipulation, it can erode your self-worth, leaving you confused and dependent on their approval. What to watch for: do they withhold affection as punishment or use it to get what they want? Are they controlling when and how intimacy happens? If so, they are using sex as a means of control. 5. Infidelity and triangulation, keeping you on your toes. Narcissists are notorious for being unfaithful. Their need for admiration and validation extends beyond one partner, and they often seek out new sexual conquests to feed their ego. They might flirt with others openly, or you might discover they have been involved in multiple affairs. In addition to infidelity, narcissists love to triangulate, creating love triangles where they pit two people against each other. They may make you feel insecure by mentioning other potential partners or by flaunting their attractiveness to others. This keeps you on edge, constantly trying to win their affection. Why it's dangerous: infidelity and triangulation are designed to make you feel insecure and desperate for their validation, keeping you trapped in the relationship. What to watch for: do they constantly seek attention from others, flirt openly, or make you feel jealous? This behavior is intended to destabilize you emotionally and make you feel like you must fight for their love. 6. Devaluation and criticism, shifting the blame to you. Once the narcissist has you hooked, the dynamic begins to shift. The compliments fade, and suddenly you can't do anything right. They may criticize your sexual performance or compare you unfavorably to their previous partners. This tactic is part of the devaluation stage, where the narcissist undermines your confidence to maintain power over you. By making you feel inadequate, they ensure that you become more dependent on them for validation. Even though they criticize you, they will dangle just enough affection to keep you chasing their approval. Why it's dangerous: this constant criticism can destroy your self-esteem, leaving you vulnerable to further manipulation. What to watch for: are they frequently critical of your appearance, your performance in bed, or your behavior in ways that feel personal and hurtful? If so, they are trying to control you through devaluation. 7. Discard and return, the cycle of abuse. Narcissists are known for their cyclical patterns of abuse, often referred to as idealize, devalue, discard. After idealizing you and drawing you in, they begin the devaluation process. Eventually, when you're no longer useful to them or when they grow bored, they discard you, often with little warning. But the cycle doesn't end there. Many narcissists will return, attempting to pull you back into the relationship with promises of change, apologies, or by using sex as a means of reconciliation. This hoovering can happen months or even years after the initial relationship has ended. Why it's dangerous: the cycle of discard and return is designed to keep you emotionally hooked, prolonging the toxic relationship and making it harder to break free. What to watch for: do they disappear when it suits them, only to return later with apologies or attempts to rekindle the sexual relationship? If so, they are playing the classic narcissist game of discard and return.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to join our community and stay updated with our latest content. We delve into a variety of thought-provoking topics, and today's discussion might resonate with many of you. We'll be exploring the concept of how God avenges the victims of narcissism. This is a topic that touches on spirituality, psychology, and morality, and it's one that many of us can relate to, whether through personal experiences or through witnessing the experiences of others. Narcissism, at its core, is characterized by an excessive interest in oneself, a lack of empathy, and an inflated sense of one's own importance. It is a personality disorder that affects not only the individual who possesses these traits but also everyone around them. Victims of narcissistic behavior often find themselves in a whirlwind of manipulation, deceit, and emotional turmoil. It's a path that many have walked and, unfortunately, a path that leaves many wounded. One of the most profound sources of solace and strength for victims of narcissistic abuse is their faith. Many turn to their spiritual beliefs for comfort and understanding, seeking a higher power's guidance in navigating the storm of narcissistic entanglement. The question arises, how does God avenge the victims of narcissism? Is there a divine justice that intervenes on behalf of those who suffer? In many religious beliefs, God is seen as the ultimate arbiter of justice, one who sees all and knows all. This belief offers comfort in the knowledge that there is a divine presence that witnesses the suffering of victims and promises retribution against those who cause harm. The Bible, for instance, is replete with verses that speak to God's role in avenging wrongs and protecting the oppressed. In Romans 12:19 it states, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay,' says the Lord." This passage highlights the belief that vengeance is not ours to seek, but rather something that God will deliver in His own time. It is a reminder that divine justice operates on a different timetable than human justice, often requiring patience and faith. This can be incredibly challenging for victims who seek immediate justice, but the promise of divine intervention offers hope and reassurance. Furthermore, the concept of karma is another lens through which we can view how justice unfolds. Karma, a fundamental principle in Hinduism and Buddhism, suggests that the actions of individuals inevitably return to them, either in this life or the next. This principle resonates with many who have suffered at the hands of narcissists, offering a form of cosmic justice that ensures everyone reaps what they sow. The idea that God or the universe has a way of balancing the scales can be empowering for victims. It allows them to release their anger and bitterness, trusting that justice will be served in due time. This does not mean that victims should remain passive in the face of abuse. Rather, it encourages them to seek healing and empowerment, knowing that their suffering has not gone unnoticed by a higher power. It's also important to consider how God's intervention may not always manifest in ways we expect. Justice might not mean the narcissist faces legal consequences or public disgrace, but it could mean that they lose the ability to manipulate and harm others. It might mean that their actions eventually lead to their own downfall, as the truth about their behavior comes to light. In many cases, the natural consequences of their actions, alienation, loss of trust, and eventual isolation, serve as their punishment. Moreover, God's vengeance can also take the form of redemption and transformation for the victim. Many survivors of narcissistic abuse find that their suffering leads them to greater self-awareness, resilience, and empathy. They emerge from the experience with a stronger sense of self and a clearer understanding of their own worth. This transformation can be seen as a form of divine retribution, where the victim's triumph and growth serve as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of faith. The community of survivors also plays a crucial role in the healing process. Through shared experiences and mutual support, victims of narcissism often find solace and strength. This communal support is another way God's justice manifests, as it provides a network of understanding and encouragement that empowers victims to reclaim their lives. The shared stories and wisdom of others who have walked similar paths can be a guiding light for those who are still in the midst of their struggle. In a broader sense, the rise of awareness about narcissistic abuse and the increasing availability of resources for victims can be seen as part of God's plan to bring justice and healing. As more people become educated about narcissism and its effects, society becomes better equipped to support victims and hold perpetrators accountable. This cultural shift is a form of collective retribution, ensuring that the cycle of abuse is interrupted and future victims are protected. Of course, the path to healing and justice is not without its challenges. Victims often grapple with feelings of anger, betrayal, and a desire for revenge. It is natural to want to see those who have wronged us suffer for their actions, but it is important to remember that harboring such feelings can impede our own healing process. By focusing on our own growth and well-being, we allow ourselves to move forward and create a future free from the shadows of our past. Forgiveness, while difficult, is another aspect of divine justice that can lead to healing. Forgiving a narcissist does not mean condoning their behavior or forgetting the harm they caused. Rather, it is about releasing the hold that anger and resentment have on our hearts. Forgiveness can be a powerful act of liberation, allowing us to reclaim our peace and move forward with our lives. It is a deeply personal journey, one that requires time and reflection, but it can ultimately be one of the most rewarding steps toward healing. In conclusion, while the journey of a victim of narcissism is fraught with challenges, there is hope in the belief that a higher power is watching over them. Whether through divine intervention, karmic justice, or personal transformation, God avenges the victims of narcissism in ways that may not be immediately visible but are nonetheless profound and meaningful. By placing our trust in a higher power, we can find the strength to heal, grow, and ultimately overcome the darkness that narcissism brings. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of how God avenges the victims of narcissism. We hope this discussion has offered some insight and comfort to those who may be struggling with similar experiences. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time, take care and stay strong.